This chapter introduces the book by looking at the great problem or the great missing link in so many of our discussions about leadership. It's what I call emotionally unhealthy leadership. Sadly, I know it really well. Now, an emotionally unhealthy leader is someone who operates in a continuous state of an emotional and spiritual deficit. In other words, they lack emotional maturity and a being with God sufficient to sustain their doing for God. So when we talk about emotionally unhealthy leaders, we're referring to emotional and spiritual deficits that impact every aspect of their lives. Now, emotional deficits are manifested primarily by a pervasive lack of awareness. I'm referring to a lack of awareness about their feelings, their weaknesses, our limits, how the past impacts the present, and how others experience them. They also lack the capacity and the skill to enter deeply into the feelings and perspectives of other people. And they carry around with them immaturities into their teams, and they carry them into everything actually they do. Now, the spiritual deficits typically reveal themselves in giving out more for God than we actually receive from Him. And the demands and pressures of ministry and leadership basically make it nearly impossible for them to establish a consistent and sustainable rhythm of life with God. And so in their more honest moments, they admit that their cup with God is empty, or at least half full, and they're not overflowing with joy out to other people. So more specifically, there are four things to look for in an emotionally unhealthy leadership. There's low self-awareness. There's a priority of ministry over marriage or singleness. We do more activity for God than our relationship with God can sustain. And then we lack a work and Sabbath rhythm. And the result is we end up skimming when building our ministries and building our teams. So this study will introduce you as well to the four primary unhealthy commandments that fill our churches. And you'll want to take some time to understand them because they're so profound and actually they're so insidious. And they go, hey, it's not successful unless it's bigger and better. What you do is more important than who you are. Superficial spirituality, it's okay. And don't rock the boat as long as the work gets done. Those unhealthy commandments just do great damage to all of us and our leadership. So again, those unhealthy commandments so end up affecting an emotionally unhealthy leadership. So you'll want to think about which of these would you name as a struggle for you and why? And this is so important because the cracks will show eventually, and they affect the way that we lead. So finally, be sure to take the assessment, How Healthy is Your Leadership, on pages 34 and 35 of the book as part of your preparation, along with reading Chapter 1. You can also find the assessment on our website. So blessings to you and enjoy as you launch out.